Hey everybody, it's Liz the Shutterbuck Gal here to talk to you today about lenses. If you haven't had a chance, go check out my videos for Tuesday, 2 Tips Tuesday. Every week on Tuesday I give you guys 2 tips, hopefully to help you guys reach your goal of becoming a professional photographer. And hopefully they're helping you guys out. Today when we talk about lenses, lenses can be intimidating. When you first start looking at lenses, there's so much writing on them and there's all these little numbers and letters, and it can really overwhelm you because you have no idea where to start or what to do. Today I'm just going to point out some of the things you need to look at and consider when you're purchasing a lens. You obviously need to understand your camera before you start buying a lens, because certain lenses are made to work with certain cameras. And by that I mean you guys have full frame cameras and crop sensor cameras, crop sensor, crop frame, you know, those terms are used interchangeably. For example, I have a D3300, which is the crop sensor, and then my full frame is my D700. Some lenses will say DX on them versus FX. So understanding which lens goes with which body is going to help you understand which lens is better for you. You can interchange them, and there is some great charts that you can look at, and I'll put a link in the comments below to show you how an FX lens would work on a DX body and vice versa. So that's the first thing you want to look at, is you want to make sure that your lens is going to work with your camera the best that it can. The next thing I'm going to point out to you is lenses will say AF on them or AFS, and some lenses are even manual, which fully means it's fully manually focused. AF and AFS is in terms of the autofocus system. An AF lens has autofocus capabilities. That means that the focus motor is in the camera and not in the lens. The AFS lenses are the ones that have the focus motor within the lens, not in the camera. For example, if you take the AFS lens that I have here and mounts on a 3300 that does not have the focus motor here and it's not in here, it's going to make it just a manual lens. It could work. You have to change some settings in your camera to get it to work, but it's doable. The AFS lens with the 700, there's focus motors in both. I've heard mixed things on whether it makes it faster, this combination, when you have 2 focus motors, and I've heard some people say it doesn't make a difference. Honestly, I don't know that. A couple other things you need to understand when buying a lens. Obviously, you want to understand the difference between a prime lens and a zoom lens. A prime lens is a fixed focal length. Take the 35 that I have, for example. 35 millimeters all the time. This is a DX lens, so if you put it on the if you put it on the full frame camera, it will change that. There is the crop ratio that you need to take into consideration, like when you're putting an FX lens on a crop frame camera. I can put a link below that will explain that in detail for you also. The 35 to 135, this is a zoom lens here. It's going to zoom in and out. I think this is more, not quite a telephoto lens because it starts out at 35 to 135. It might be more considered a mid-range, but you have different range zooms. So you can get the 14 to 24, the 24 to 70, or the 70 to 200. So there's different ranges of zooms, but those zooms, the focal length is going to change. So you got your prime lenses and you have your zoom lenses. All lenses are going to have the minimum aperture. It's the lowest, the low number that you see on there is going to be the lowest the aperture will go, or the wider it will go. Something you guys need to understand on a side note is a low aperture is the low number means the aperture opens really wide. Such as on this 85 1.8, it'll open up really wide. This one is a 3.5 to 4.5, which means it's not going to open quite as wide. The reason why this aperture varies is at 35 millimeters, the lowest aperture is 3.5. When you zoom out to the 135, the lowest aperture will go is 4.5. Some lenses will have a fixed aperture, which means it doesn't matter if it's zoomed all the way out or all the way in, your lowest aperture will always be the same. They'll always change. Doesn't mean that you can't change the aperture, it just means that the low aperture setting won't change as you're zooming in and out. So with that being said, understanding your camera, the type of crop versus full frame sensor, the type of sensor that you have, and understanding if you can use the AF lenses versus the AFS lenses. So hopefully this has helped you might have confused you even more, but it's gonna point you in the right direction of some things to look at before you buy. I would hate for you to run out and buy a lens just because you think it's a great deal. Come to find out, you get home and you just cannot get it to work with your camera the right way. So I'll leave those links below. Hopefully they help you. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If there's anything you'd like to see, put it in the comments below, and I will see you guys again. Also, all my social media links are in the description below, so feel free to come and find me and follow me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye, y'all.